Hi, and welcome to The Click. Today we're going to be covering multi-step linear equations, where they fall under, and how exactly to tackle them. Let's start. So what are multi-step linear equations? Now we know already that a linear equation is where the variable in the equation has the exponent of 1. And we understood from one-step and two-step linear equations that it only takes a set amount of steps to solve them. So for the one-step linear equation, it takes 1 step to solve, and for the two-step linear equation, it takes 2 steps. However, there's still a lot of linear equations outside of those two categories. Hence, we have the multi-step linear equation. Today, we're going to be understanding how to solve them. So, what we can understand from a multi-step linear equation is that they will ultimately have more elements than the one-step linear equations and the two-step linear equations. After a certain point, we would be able to simplify the multi-step linear equation so that they'd look like one of the two, but you may also see some similarities in how we would solve the two-step equations and the multi-step equation. First, let's try to understand this example here. 3 into 2x plus 3 whole is equal to 18. Now, from what we can see, there is a 3 being multiplied into this whole bracket. Let me write that down. As you can see, the 3 is being multiplied into this whole bracket over here. So it would make sense to divide the whole expression by 3 so that we can bring it to the other side and alienate this x over here and make it alone. However, I'm going to be using a different method today so that we can understand how to simplify this whole expression without needing to bring 3 to the other side yet. Although you can absolutely divide this whole expression by 3, this expansion principle will become more common in later topics, which is why I'm just teaching it now instead. So, let me write it over here a bit more neatly. When we're trying to expand this expression, what we can do is that obviously right now we have this summation that we can't simplify. So, to try and simplify this whole thing, what we can do is that we can multiply this outside number 3 with each individual number inside the bracket. So 3 into 2x and 3 into 3. And then we can just add those two numbers together. So when we're doing 3 into 2x, it'll become 6x, and when we do 3 into 3, it'll become 9. Since it's a summation that's happening inside the brackets, or addition, we'll just be adding this plus symbol over here instead, and we will be equating that to 18 to get this equation. As you can see now, it is a two-step linear equation instead, meaning that we can now tackle it as we normally would. We can subtract both sides by 9, and we can cancel out this addition of 9 over here. This will make it 6x is equal to 18 minus 9, or 9 over here. And once we get that, we will get the final expression, x is equal to 3 by 2. Now, let's take another example. So, over here, we have two multi-step linear equations. Let's tackle the first one. 4x plus 10 is equal to 6x minus 2. Over here, we can already see a bit of a problem. We have two variables over here, and one set of numbers on opposite sides of the equation. Let's write this down. So over here we can see that we need these two variables and these two numbers to be together on both sides of their own equation. So how do we do that? So as we learned in our first lesson regarding one-step linear equations, we have operator pairs such as addition and subtraction and multiplication and division for each other. So, while it would be a bit confusing to add the whole equation by different numbers, and if that works with you, that may work as well, but then what we can also do is that we can bring each number individually to its own side so that we don't have to confuse ourselves with the addition or subtraction too much. So what we'll be doing now, since this 4x, we'll tackle the variables first. Since this 4x is being added over here with 10, since we can implicitly see this addition sign, when we're bringing it to the other side, it will become subtraction instead, because the opposite of addition is subtraction. Similarly, when we're bringing this 2 to the 10 on the other side, since it's being subtracted over here, and the opposite of subtraction is addition, it'll become addition when we bring it to the other side. So let's write this down. Just circling the operators. So as we can see now, we have this equation over here. Let's simplify that. We'll get 12 on this side and 2x on this side. Now that we have this, we now have a one-step linear equation that we can actually work with. For this, we can just divide this whole equation by 2, and we will get 12 by 2 is equal to 6, making the final answer 6. Now let's tackle this equation over here instead. I'll be using something similar to what I had done with the previous example with expansion instead. Of course, since there's a 3 over here and a 6 over here, you can absolutely just simplify that instead, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's multiplying with these two brackets. However, I'll be using the expansion principle so that we can understand better how exactly to use it in case the topic comes up again in the future. Let's write this down. So, in this equation, what we have is we have one bracket over here and one over here. So to just be able to expand this, we need to multiply each number outside of the bracket that's multiplied with the bracket into each of the little expressions inside the bracket. So we'll be multiplying 3 into 7x and 2 first. 3 into 7x is 21x, and 3 into 2 is 6. Since it's being added, since what's happening inside the bracket is basically addition, we'll be maintaining that outside the bracket as well. Now, something similar will be used for this bracket, where we'll be multiplying 6 into 3x, 6 into 5, and we'll be using the summation symbol over here. So it'll become 18x, 6 into 5 is 30, and since it's being added, we'll be using that over here as well. Now, we are left with this similar equation that we had over here as well. To be able to simplify this, we'll be using something similar, where we're going to bring this smaller variable number to the other side. Right now we can't see it, but there's an addition symbol implicitly over here. So when we're bringing it to the other side, it'll become subtraction instead, since the opposite of addition is subtraction. This will make it 21x minus 18x on this side. Now, since this 6 is being added over here with 21x, when we bring it to the other side with this 30, it'll become subtraction, since the opposite of addition is subtraction again. So we'll be writing that over here. Now, what we're going to be doing is, now we're left with this equation similar to what we had over here. All we have to do is simplify it. 21x minus 18x is 3x. And 30 minus 6 is 24. If we divide this whole expression by 3, the final answer will come out to 8. And with that, we're done for today. Thank you so much, and here are the sources.